An ancient Chinese character hieroglyph from around 5,000 years ago, a symbol from the first civilization that is still going strong today. In times past, Chinese see themselves as descendants of the dragon. The emperor was associated with the dragon through cultural symbology in a number of ways. 5,000 years ago, this was created to represent a dragon-breathing fire. In the Jewish tradition, we recognize it as the Menorah, and in the world tradition of the Petroglyph phenomena, we recognize it as the Squatterman phenomena. But what do you guys think about this anyway? Are these symbols globally connected to what was witnessed in the sky? The symbolism is overwhelming. This is the path to truth that we are all affected by the ancient assembly of the gods. The gods are literally the planets. Thank you for watching.
This time I will offer Squatter Man. Before we question anything, we know there is more. Human intuition tells us of the lie, a deep-rooted lie that leaves human beings almost without a history. The saying that victors of war write the histories of their own experience, eliminating the enemy's existence, is a cultural decay that has trended the ages. The Christ, the Satan. We are the people victimized by the control to believe. The stories everywhere are of the happenings in the sky. The catastrophic fear inflicted on the human condition is triggered by trauma, a trauma brought about by cataclysmic occurrences that have affected all life on Earth. This was once a world under siege, and the ancients who witnessed the event have left petroglyphic record for us to find. Their message has reached us today. Make no mistake, the Squatter Man is the greatest secret never told. This is the will to remember. Wait till you hear this. The Squatter Man, found from China to Brazil, Norway to Hawaii, a widespread etching that is of the oldest characters found today, surviving from a time forgotten and lost to history. In the petroglyph record, we find this prevalent symbol, which is found in every culture and is often confused with a distorted version of the human form. And the experts do say this. They say these are abstract designs of people running around squatting and raising their arms. Experts pushing the abstract agenda have been caught out. No longer can they tell us things that we are forced to believe. In the age of communication, our arms are around our world, and we are awakening to these truths forgotten for so long. The Squatter Man image is an archetype that has been carved into rocks as petroglyphs by prehistoric man, which has been recorded by all nations and civilizations on all the continents, in all the regions of the earth in very ancient times. These symbols are responsible for our godlike worship of a supreme being. But consider yourself. Consider the fabric and material that make up the human form. It's found everywhere. It's stardust, atoms, and everything is made up of this basic fabric. This means that human beings may actually be the universe studying itself. The universe gone conscious. Many are speculating that these civilizations were either in contact with one another, or they were all visited by the same god. Either that or, all inspired by the same event, which would be the most likely way of having seen it. If the event was in the sky, which it seems to be, our influence today is the result of what these people saw in the sky. The petroglyphs are found across the world, and these images are the same and so inspiring that they had to be recorded for the people of the future generation. These markings are a message. Let's not dismiss them as something they are not. The petroglyphs are now mapped with their GPS location, orientation, and their type by a group of scientists, with their analysis of their findings of hundreds of thousands of Squatter Man petroglyphs. It was found that they pointed to a location in the southern sky. One of the leading high energy plasma discharge research scientists in the world, Anthony Peratt, recognized that the rock art or petroglyphs, geoglyphs, and pictograms were the same as the results of what he had seen in the lab. It's unmistakable. It's the secret to our control, and we are affected by this catastrophic fear. Thereafter, Dr. Peratt carried out an extensive field study on cave drawings as well as rock art all around the world. His discoveries showed that these petroglyphs were a recording of a high-energy plasma discharge event, which was seen in the Earth's atmosphere, and it was witnessed by the ancient people at that time. If one searches for the Squatter Man and Tree of Life images from across the world, one would notice that everyone had seen them, and these associated images had been carved into rock. It was noticed that rock art went from being colorful paintings of the world to, suddenly, white surreal images that were chipped and painted with white or red, together with outline. These seem to be of observations of something that occurred often as a global event, assimilating thought as godlike belief manifested to the Potnia Theron. Besides Peratt, Anthony van der Slaus also investigated the Squatterman images, as well as the various other visual geometric patterns, and both of them found that most of the rocks that were used for the petroglyphs had certain characteristics, with similar directions, with mountains or hill ranges shielding those who created the rock art. If the Squatter Man were of plasma discharges seen in the heavens, there could be a chance of synchrotron radiation release, depending on the stage of the instability, that would have been harmful or even lethal to anyone who became exposed to it in the open space. The caves were the only safe haven, but for food and water you would have to go out. The fear inflicted by this event still affects our very being even to this day and age. But what do you guys think about this anyway? Comments below, and as always, thank you for watching.
The iconography spread all over the planet of the sky god and emerged into art all over the Mediterranean region and ancient Near East. The ancient Greeks tell us the iconography comes from very ancient times. Times referred to as archaic times, even by the earliest Greek writers. And this does suggest a populous explosion in prehistoric times that relates to the sky spectacle directly. When the first of our kind re-emerged from the shelter of the caves and began to again claw back civilization from the brink, they re-emerged with a thinking of appeasing gods of the sky. Cultures emerged from this way of thinking, and the Squatter Man of the Petroglyph, the representation of the Z-pinch aurora, begins to be brought to life by ancient artists who remembered in the oral traditions. At first, there must be a visual remembrance, and this goes from petroglyph patterns to works of art in pottery, coins, and other materials capable of holding a striking resemblance of the prevailing figure witnessed all across the world. Known to the Greeks as the Potnia Theron, a humanoid figure, which is always being flanked by animals on either side, emerges into ancient cultures all across the earth. This widespread motif is recognized as a precursor of worship, the cosmic entity of the lost age of humanity from the time when our skies went electric, when planet Saturn went supernova.
Squatting Man.
All right, so this is my book here. Obviously, if you look at the chandelier at the center, it's going right to left. And if you look at the wall, the stars that are shooting to the wall, they're going to be seen as left to right. So from the left side of the wall to the right side of the wall, or if you look at the chandelier, right to left. So obviously if we're in a dome now, because we're inside of this dome, we're underneath the dome inside of the, on the iris, on top of the earth. Now, if you look at the wall, it's going left to right, but if you look at the center, it's going right to left. Now that's exactly what's happening. We live in on the plane of inertia. The magnetic field is this red line, these red lines going out like that, from the inside going out, just like that, or like that. And then you have this one going out and in, and then out and in. That's the high pressure. The blue is the high pressure, red is the mid pressure, low pressure is the plane of inertia, the accretion disk. So if you look to the top, it's going to be going right to left. So this, if you look up, it's going to be going like that. Yep, because the sun is going this way. So if you look up, it's going to be going that way. And if you look to the wall, it's going to be going this way, left to right, instead of right to left. So if you're standing down here and you look up, it's going to be all turning this way. So pretty much, if you look up, it's going to be turning like that, going left. So if you look up, that's what you see. So there you have it. We're down here. So what is this here, this little thing I drew at the center of this earth? It's this, what our ancestors saw. So whatever they saw, they drew, and that's what they saw because that's what they drew. So this is what they were all looking at. I mean, imagine, the earth is flat, right? So no matter where you were on this earth, we were all looking to one place called the center of the earth. And as we all looked to the center, that's what we saw. Yeah, all of us were seeing the magnetic field. See? Look at. All of us saw the squatting man. It's all over the world. They were seeing something. Well, see, this is the plane of inertia, and as you spin, the dress will fly out and make a disc. There's the arms. Well, it's called the gal axis, the woman at the center.
This activity is electric in nature. What these witnesses observed is the greatest energy levels observed for the high energy aurora. The remaining torids have wrapped and produced well-defined vortex curls at their edges. What's left is a solitary torus and the remnants of two others, giving a bowl-shaped at the top and a bell-shape below. The remaining central torids is often depicted as tubular, flat, or spheroidal in shape. Sometimes the drawings resemble folded petals or mushrooms. Occasionally, the ends of the wrapped torids branch and resemble fingers, toes, or lightning. This gives the zoomphoric frog and lizard, or the anthropomorphic squatterman interpretations for the figures. The petroglyphs are location specific. There is no doubt that the biblical documentation is of this event, and we will be exploring this further in the Squatterman project.
Hello and welcome to Scientifically Speaking. Today we're talking about AI video production. Now, over the last 2 weeks I've made about 5 different AI videos. I've inputted a script and then I've let it render it down and listen to it back and see if it's any good. I'm not a fan of it. This is because it can't quite understand what you're doing. So from the attempts that I've made, either the AI isn't up to it or I'm not inputting the information correctly, but either way it gives you about a 70% accuracy rate on your own script or whatever it is that you input. But today we're going to talk about when an AI video completely misinterprets your video script but still thinks it's maintained the integrity of the script. So, what I'm about to play is a video that I made about petroglyphs, the squatting man, which of course is vortex to rollover halo wave and back to open vortex. It's a plasma discharge. People saw these in the atmosphere when the last time our electromagnetic field collapsed. They saw them in the atmosphere, and so they then carved them onto the rocks to show what they'd seen. Well, AI kind of got this wrong. So here's my original video, and we'll listen to what I say, which is exactly what I just said.
July visit to Hawaii. They found a rare series of petroglyphs on Hawaii's
Well, an coast on the islands of Oahu, or however it's pronounced. Well, these are of course our plasma discharges. So now this is literally every place in the world that has these. Our ancestors put them in the ground because of some terrible disaster that happened in the past that could be seen. And if we look at the Thunderbolts project, we will find that plasma discharges in the lab and on rocks are all exactly the same. And so these are not drawings of people. These are drawings and carvings of electrical discharges within our atmosphere due to a collapsing EM field. Again, this is double helix energy theory as I have described, which is a vortex to a rollover halo wave, and this happens between two electrical levels, and so one goes one way, one goes the other, so you get a vortex in the center with two vortex openings connecting each level, with a rollover halo wave connecting both in the center. So there we go. That was pretty plain and simple. They saw it in the sky between our electrical levels. It made a picture of a squatting man. They drew it onto rocks so we would understand once we got to plasma cosmology and plasma technology in a lab again. Now one day we would understand it again.